It's after midnight, and it's time for conversations about love, family, friends, sex, and life. It's Love and Life with Carol Riddick and Donavan West, only on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello there, family, and welcome to another episode of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. And I must say that, I tell you this all the time, but I'm so happy to spend some time with you and to be here with you. And first of all, thank you for joining us in the midnight hour. We appreciate those of you who do, and we appreciate those of you who wanted to do so because we know how it is, trying to keep that one eye open. But hello to our family members on our socials too, because we know you're there and we love you too. So tonight, first of all, before I get to tonight, I want to say, I like to check on you. I like to know how you're doing. I know you cannot tell me in real time, but I want to say to you that I do pray that all is going well with and for you and yours. And that if your light is a little dim, I'm sending you some extra love and hugs because we all need that sometimes. So some extra love and hugs are coming from me. And my alternating co-host, Donavan West, he's sending love as well. So with that being said, let's get into some things. We have a guest tonight who is, I don't know whether to call it, I can't say just a friend because he's my family. He is my family. Oh my goodness. You know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. But in any event, our topic tonight is about single life, singlehood, single love, single living, and managing and navigating that. And I must say before he comes into the room that I'm so grateful that he is accommodating us, accommodating me particularly, but us by sharing. So my friend, Larry Valentine, is going to join us in just a moment. But I must tell you, he's going to talk with us about living a single life as an African-American gay man. Family, he and I have never had this conversation, so I cannot wait to get into some things, okay? All right. Without further ado, please help me welcome Larry Valentine. Hi, Larry.
Hey, Carol. It's so good to see you. Oh, my goodness.
He is so subdued. Let me tell you something, y'all. We always scream like, hey, hi. But I know, I tell y'all, when my friends come onto the show, I understand. I understand they're on their best behavior.
That's why I have my little whiskey and Coke, because I got to calm down. I got to get loosened up. We've never spoken in this type of platform before. This is different for me. I'm used to seeing Carol in a different way. So
I know.
This Carol, I know her in a more personal aspect. So
I know. What he means is that I'm usually telling him my business. That's what he means. Am I right about it?
She normally does not get me on the couch. So she has me on the couch today. So, okay, we're going to see how this goes.
Right. Well, you said you have a little help, so we should be good, right? We should be good.
I'll be fine.
Yes. First of all, I did say to our family members that are listening that, this is the first time we're in this space, you and I. Again, I'm usually telling you my business and you're usually being my therapist. So I want to say publicly, thank you for accommodating and obliging, agreeing to spend some time with us and just be transparent.
Yeah.
What we do here on Love and Life is we share. We're transparent. That's what we do. We are real. We are our unapologetic selves. That's what we do. Listen, they've heard some of my life too. So, life that you already know. But so I want to first ask you to tell our family members, for those who are unaware and unfamiliar, who you are. Tell us about your beginnings. Tell us about Larry Valentine and from where you come.
Okay. So I'm originally from the DC, Maryland area. Love home, miss home. I grew up in a wonderful two-parent household. My parents working class people. I have four sisters that are absolutely amazing. I grew up as the baby of the family, so I'm the youngest. They say I'm the spoiled one. That's what they say. I don't always agree with that, but my sisters will differ. And I had a great childhood. You know what I mean? My parents did what they could do to make me allow me to have an amazing life, going to private school and introduce me to the arts, and which also eventually led me to Philadelphia, where I went to the University of the Arts, and I majored in vocal classical music. And life as such didn't necessarily work out for school. God led me in a different path. Outside of school into the world of hair, which has always been a hidden talent of mine growing up, something I was interested in, but never felt like that I could really tap into because I didn't feel like it was taken seriously as a career. Or that my family probably wouldn't take so well to me wanting to do that as a full-time job. So I left school, stayed in Philadelphia, decided I didn't want to go back home because I think I would have still been that spoiled child, that the baby of the family, and I was trying everything to not be the baby of the family anymore. You hate to live with that label for the rest of your life. So I stayed in Philadelphia. I decided to make it on my own, go to hair school, work in a salon where I developed a friendship. That's the person that I'm talking to. And from there on, I opened my own salon when I was 23. And you were there for the beginning.
I was about to say first, let me interject. Okay. I just want to tell our family members when Larry says that, we met, okay, you're underplaying this story, if that's even a word, but in any event, he came into the salon one day, at a salon at which he worked, in a salon that I was patronizing. And he said he was going to open his salon. I said, okay, you tell me when, and I will be there. And he said, oh, okay. Like basically, okay. Yeah. Well, when I tell you, Larry did my hair for 18 years, something like that.
Maybe 16.
Maybe 16? Okay. So Larry did we know it was in excess of 15 years.
Yeah.
How about that? We know that. we know that. But yeah, so every look you saw me with, from, I guess, up until, I don't even know what year it was that you left, but until you left Philadelphia, it was Larry. And there will be a lot of our family members who are listening that will know.
We have
because they used to see me
Yes. If she lasted a hairstyle longer than a week, it was an accomplishment for me. I was like, oh, whoo, okay.
I drove him mad. I drove him insane, y'all. I am not saying that because I'm happy about it. I am saying it because I know it to be true. I'm not happy about it, Larry. I know I did, y'all. Now, hold on, family. Y'all know how it is when you don't. I can't do hair. I'm not good with doing hair. And Larry, poor Larry, I wore out his last nerve. Am I the reason you left Philadelphia? Am I the reason you left?
No. We're going to get into why I left.
Right.
That was part of this whole, it goes right into this whole thing. We'll get into why I left. So we had some great times.
We did. We still do. We're just
a Black woman, sitting in the hairstyling chair is such a big thing. Such an intimate thing. It's an intimate thing. It's a really serious thing for a hairstylist to touch a Black woman's hair. So I think that is where a lot of us formed.
That's true. It's because it's a personal experience. It is. It's very personal. It's very intimate, and there's a lot of trust there.
Yeah.
Well, we had gotten to the point where I would come in and we would just talk about life. You didn't ask me what I was doing or what I wanted done with my hair. You would just do it.
And then we would always say, oh, we need to go out to dinner, or we need to go out for drinks. Not realizing, like, in a way, that was our dinner and drinks.
It sure was.
It really was. So You know, so you have definitely seen me evolve as a man. You were there. You were there. You
I
there. I was like
was.
22. I'm like, what, going on 40 now? So
Woo.
you were there for a big part of my life. And so, you know.
Okay, grown man. All right, grown man. He said, listen, and you're right, 22. I remember that. So, okay, I digress. So, okay, so you told us that you're from the DMV and you have 4 sisters. Yes, the beauties, the lovelies. So tell me something. Because now this is a question that I've always wanted to ask my friends with I don't know, with a different background. I guess I'm not really, let me put a disclaimer out there, family. Okay. Let me just say this right now, because you guys heard me say this the other day. If I say anything incorrectly, it is, please do not charge it to my heart. Please charge it to my mind, because I just don't know better. But Larry, you know, but they say when you know better, you do better.
To politely correct.
Yes, to educate. Educate. Family, if you're just joining us, you're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. And we're joined by none other than Larry Valentine, who was my stylist for in excess of 15 years, but is beyond a friend to me. He is family to me, and he's obliged us with talking about living his life as a single African-American gay male. So what I've always wanted to know is, how early did you know? How young were you when you identified your sexual preference or orientation?
Well, you know, growing up in a Christian school, my parents kept me in a private Christian school pretty much most of my life, from like kindergarten all the way up to high school.
Okay.
And it's been so many debates. We could talk about this for hours of, you know, whether people are born with it. You know, people always, I mean, for me, honestly, I can say as far as I can think back to kindergarten, I remember having a crush on a little boy. And a boy my age. You know what? It never seemed awkward. The only reason I didn't feel like I wanted to tell anybody is I noticed that the other little boys liked girls. So I knew something was different, but I didn't necessarily feel like it was wrong. It just felt so natural to me. And as time progressed, I knew that I never saw it as a phase. I just always saw it as a part of my life. You know, I ever remember of, honestly, and this is not every gay man's story.
Right.
This is not every gay man's story. For me, I can remember never, ever having attraction to a woman. That's not every man's story. Some men are different. Some men started their life out having an attraction to a woman because they felt like that is what other men did and they mirrored that. Okay. I've never been attracted to a woman. And so I think that maybe around high school is when I kind of just felt like, you know what, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to hide this. I don't have time to conceal this. I don't have time to keep this bottled up in the closet. So I came out to my family at about the age of, I would say 15.
Oh, wow. You were really young.
Yeah, I was really
young. You know what? Okay. So many things you just said. My mind is reeling. So one question I have is that, so you didn't even make any effort to pretend. You did not attempt dating a girl or
I'm not going to say that.
Okay.
I tried because I told myself, okay, let's give this a try.
Okay.
So in junior high school, you know, I dated a girl, but to be honest, in my head, it was like, this is like my best friend. This is my homie. I'll let you call me your boyfriend. And life didn't get weird until she wanted to kiss me. And I was like, oh, I got to do this. Okay. Wow. But yeah, I think that I always tell people always say, well, have you ever tried it? Have you ever been with a woman? Have you ever tried to date a woman? That I have. And I think for me, it was at a time where I felt like I kind of gave in. I gave in to what I thought I should be. So I had those weak, well, I would call it a weak moment of giving. I thought that I should be, or maybe let me just try this out to maybe see if it's any way that I am like other little boys. And clearly it didn't work out. So
Was that traumatic for you? Was it
no, it wasn't traumatic for me. You know,
okay?
it was almost like trial and error. You know.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting to
Yeah.
me. Yeah, you know, because and I say that because I know a few friends, um two of whom said that it was like they stressed.
Yeah.
There was a lot of anxiety for
Uh-huh.
them because they said, "Well, look, I was trying to conform. I was
Yeah.
trying, but
Uh-huh. And you know
they."
what? I think it depends on what kind of home you came from, what your surroundings
Mhm,
were like. Who did you grow up with? Did they have all brothers? Did they have a lot of males in their life and they felt so
mhm,
pressured? Or, you know, were they raised heavily in the church? Or so everybody
mhm.
has like a different story of why they may have felt anxiety about it, where they may have felt pressured or traumatized from it. Um,
Yeah, I agree with that.
say I don't feel like I had that story, you know?
Well, tell me this. So you say you knew as early as kindergarten.
Mhm.
Do you think your family knew?
Mhm.
Uh,
You know what? They will. I feel like they will always say no. They did not
okay.
know.
Okay.
Um, but in the back of my head, you know, my sisters knew that I was a little different.
Mhm.
You know, you have your way of telling your little brother, "Don't do that," or "Don't sit that way," or
Mhm. Mhm.
little boys don't do that. So when you say that to a young child, you know something
Something.
different about them. Even if you want to say, "Oh, we never saw that coming," or "We didn't know," you know, you definitely knew something. I do remember hearing a lot of that
Okay.
from my siblings. You know, things that little boys shouldn't do. You know, and I can honestly say maybe it was God. God was just with me just through the whole step of the way because I never felt like I can't do what they're not telling me to do.
Mhm.
I felt maybe I shouldn't do it in front of you, but I'm still going to be me.
Mhm.
There's
Mhm.
so many people in the lifestyle who grow up in junior high school, college, who have battled thoughts of suicide, depression.
Absolutely.
It has happened a lot in my community, not just as a Black man, but as a gay man.
Mhm.
Um, and I can honestly say, by the grace of God, I've never had those thoughts. I never let somebody take me there.
Mhm.
I always
Mhm.
kind of stood proud on the inside, at least, of who I was. And I definitely came to a point, which was about 15, where I felt like if I'm going to do this, I have to realize that it is their problem to deal with,
Mhm.
not mine.
Mhm.
So I'm going to present this to you. At some point, it's going to come out, and you have to deal with it. My only
Wow.
struggle was just the hurt and the disappointment that I felt like the feedback, you know, is a disappointment. You know, that's the only thing I feel like.
So so from whom did you receive negative feedback?
You know, my sisters, my mom, and it's so funny because you would think I grew up in a home with my father my whole life.
Mhm.
My father
Mhm.
was fairly active in my life. He was an amazing dad. Um, and surprisingly, dad was the one who took it the best. Um,
I
at least
remember you telling me that.
yeah, I don't know what conversation he may have had behind closed doors with mom, but to me, visually, which made mean everything to me,
Mhm.
um, my father took it very well. He took me on, and it's so funny. I gave this speech at his funeral a few years ago. He took me to Baskin Robbins because that was like one of our favorite places to go to. And he drove around, got me some ice cream, and we drove around, and he drove around to the point eventually the ice cream was gone. We pulled back up at the house and he said, you know what? I know that you are different. I know what you're going through. He's like, I have seen it before because he grew up with his younger brother like that. And you have to imagine men that were born in the late 40s and the
Mhm.
early 50s. The fact that he could process that with his sibling
Mhm.
and I think it was a reason that he went through that, not knowing that
Mhm.
he would have to go through the same thing with his son and having to process that with his son. Um,
Mhm.
and he said, I just want to let you know that I love you. You're my son, you're my child. That doesn't change anything.
Oh my
He
goodness.
never
Larry?
said, don't do this or don't be like this. Or he never said, are you sure you don't want to date a girl? Or are you sure you don't want to do this? Or what about children? I never went through that series of questions with my dad, ever.
You know what, Larry? I hate to interrupt you in this moment, because this story is so powerful, and it says so much about your relationship with your parents. Family, if you are just joining us, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM, and we're going to take a break, just a short little break, but we'll be right back, and we will continue the conversation with Larry Valentine in just a moment. So stay with us.
Word on Jobs.
A new year is here, and if you're searching for new career goals or a new job that fits your skill set, visit wordworks.com to view jobs and program opportunities, including Community Relations Coordinator for WHYY, Disability Services Director for NBME, and Policy Director for Bicycle Coalition of Greater Philadelphia. Visit WordWorks at word.com and find the career opportunity that's right for you. Brought to you by Pico and Livelihood at Word Radio.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone, and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Black Americans have died of COVID-19 at over 2 times the rate of white counterparts. This is due to systemic racism and healthcare disparities. Here are some tips for protecting yourself. Wear a mask covering your mouth and nose. Avoid crowds. Wash your hands with soap and water. Use alcohol-based sanitizers. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Practice social distancing and follow World Health Organization guidelines. Quarantine if you've been exposed to the virus. Self-isolate if you're experiencing symptoms. Seek medical attention if you experience difficulty breathing, a fever, cough, sudden confusion, or pressure in your chest. If you don't have health insurance or a healthcare provider, try contacting your state health department, community health clinics, or local hospitals for testing and treatment. Together, we can stay informed and empowered. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
When I cross the finish line, it's not just me. I succeed because of others. When I was pregnant, I survived because of others. At 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Because my doctor took quick action and my husband was there to help me, I'm alive. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
For the Indianapolis Colts. Becoming a running back was no easy task for me. But it's nothing compared to what my amazing mom faces every day. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14 years old. Yet she's always there for me, every step of the way, despite her own battles. And the Muscular Dystrophy Association is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Their research is helping find cures and save lives. Watching my mom go through her daily struggles and the care she receives from MDA has made me determined to help find a cure for neuromuscular disease. That is why I support MDA, and that's why I'm so grateful to others who do too. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka The Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food, marinated in the Black experience, seared with history and braised culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food, History, and Culture every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. beginning January 2nd, 2022, exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, you're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. I am your alternating co-host, Carol Riddick, and tonight I'm joined by Larry Valentine, who is sharing his life with us. He's sharing his story with us, and I must say that he is more than just a friend to me. He is family to me. So I truly do appreciate this more than I can express, that your transparency and your honesty. And before the break, Larry shared with us when he came out to his father. He shared the conversation that he was having with his father when he came out, and this was at 15, I believe you said, around 15, right? So you came out to your parents separately, not together, or did
separately? Yeah, it was separately. After I had the amazing talk with my father, that I felt like that was just all the validation in the world that I needed. Honestly, I think that after I talked to my dad, it was just like, okay, nothing else matters. I'm good. You know, it's nothing like a young Black boy being validated by his father about the most vulnerable, secretive, scary thing that he could go through in life, and for your father to kind of like in an emotional way kind of lay his hand on you and say, it's okay, you're good, I'm good, we're good, I love you just the same. It's such a big deal. So
that's huge.
Yeah, huge. And you know, after that I just felt like life is pretty easy, so I thought. So you know, one thing, the last thing that we talked about, the last thing he said to me in that conversation, he was like, don't tell your mother and your sisters yet. I'm looking like, oh, okay. Now, the way I grew up, you know, being around my mom and my sisters, my oldest sister was a hairstylist also. So I used to go to the salon with her. I used to go to the salon with my mother. And I used to see how some women interacted with gay men. They interacted with gay men in a very free way.
Okay.
Almost like it was like another homegirl. So in my head, I felt like me coming out to my mom and my sisters was going to be like that. I felt like it was going to be like a homecoming. We support you because we are sensitive beings.
Right, right.
And it did not totally go that way with my mom and my sisters. I think that I have kind of given some reason for it in my head now, but at that time I was just like, this is not the way this is supposed to happen. It was definitely a somewhat slightly more dramatic situation.
Okay.
My mom probably did not take it the best. And at that time, you know, I was being a little grown too. You know, I'm gonna be very upfront. I wasn't quite being in the most child place that I should have been in at that time, but
not you.
You know, at that time I did have a significant other in high school.
Well, wait, I want to make sure I have the timeline right. I'm sorry to interrupt. So you told did you tell them all when you were 15? Did your father ask you to wait, but did you do so?
It still happened pretty much in the same year.
Okay.
Yeah, it happened in the same year.
Did you initiate it, or what?
With
tell us.
My mother.
Yeah. Okay.
You said, did I initiate it?
The conversation. Yeah, because what I'm getting, and I'll tell you why I'm asking, you know, this particularly, because I'm listening to you say that your father asked you to wait and not say anything to your mother and your sisters. So I was curious to know how long after the conversation with your father did you have the conversation with your mother and your sisters? And
Mm-hmm.
did you have it with them together or with your mother?
Yeah, this was with my mother.
Okay, your mother.
First, and it wasn't intentional. So
Okay.
in my head, I was doing what he asked me to do. I
Okay.
think that the day that I talked to my mother about it, I felt like I was pushed to tell her. I went out with my high school boyfriend at that time, and he was driving, and we went out for Valentine's Day. And I did lie to him, and I told him that my parents knew about me.
Okay.
And I think I was more so speaking for my dad, and I included my mom in the story too. And I think I wanted to make him feel comfortable because he would always feel kind of funny about coming over the house. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, they knew him as a friend, but he was just like, I don't want to do too much if your parents don't, know. And I was like, oh, it's cool. Me trying to be so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went out for Valentine's Day one night, and we had dinner, and we ate, and came back home, at a reasonable time. And he had a balloon for me. And he said, if you don't want to take this balloon in the house, it's really cool. I don't want to get you in any trouble. I said, no, it's okay. I said, my parents are cool. My parents know about me. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely wasn't telling the truth on that one. And so I bring this balloon in the house. And as soon as I bring the balloon, I thought I was going to kind of dart upstairs and go upstairs. And my mom was kind of like standing right there. And she said, where did you get this balloon from? Because I think she was under the assumption that me and my friend were going out with two other young ladies, and
Okay.
we were dates.
Mm.
And when I came in the house, she said, where'd you get this balloon from? And I said, so-and-so gave it to me. And she stopped for a second, and I started walking upstairs because I was trying to leave it at that. And she said, well, Larry, boys don't give boys those type of gifts for Valentine's Day. And I said, well, Mom, they do when they're together. Like you're watching like a sitcom and you hear that little.
First of all, family, let me explain something to you. I know his mother and I love his mother, but you did not say that to you. I'm shocked you're still alive.
Yeah, I know, right? Look, even in her time of anger, I'm still her baby boy. And so as soon as I said it, she was just like, what do you mean? And then I kind of repeated my statement to her.
Mm.
And then I think, if my mind serves me right, I was just like, Mom, we are together. I kind of looked at her like, we are together. And I said it, and she walked away from me immediately. She called his home and she told his mother, because she knew him as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And she told his mother that he was not allowed over our house anymore. So then that was the beginning of that. And then, my mom, my sisters, and that's how they found out. So I never told my sisters.
Right. So wait. Now I know your mother. That was all she did. She just went to the phone and she called his mother and said, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
He's no longer welcome. That was it.
That was it. And I think that in that moment, I don't know what else it was for her to say to me.
Okay.
It was a very foreign situation.
Okay.
So I think she just probably needed a moment, So as far as I can remember back that far, I'm sure I just went up to my room and we just did not talk about it for a couple of days. And all I know is, if my memory serves me right, I remember just being in the bed one day and waking up, and all of my sisters are sitting home. They're in the house because they didn't live there at the same time. My sisters, we are somewhat far apart in age. So okay. I was the only child in the house for a long time. And so I wake up and my sisters are sitting around the bed. And I'm looking like, what in the world is going on? And at the time, one of my sisters was in law school and she came home for the weekend. And my oldest sister and my other sister, and they just kind of asked me a series of questions, like, when did this start? Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to date a girl? And so that was the first time I felt like I was antagonized outside of young children at school, because kids can be mean to other kids, but they don't understand you, or they feel like you're not like them. So I definitely went through that.
I want to talk about that too. Yeah. I want to, hear all about that too. But so you awoke to what felt like an intervention, basically.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. It's an intervention about who I am and why am I this way, and can it be turned off like a light switch? And so, and the love that I had for my sisters, I could just never be angry with them about it. I love my sisters. I love my
I know you do.
all of my sisters are like my second moms because
I
they're
know.
an age. They had such a hand in raising me. So I am very respectful to my sisters. I respect them as parents. And so I would never talk back. And I almost had this forgiving, immediate forgiving spirit or energy towards them, almost like a young child gets a whooping and then your parent wants to console you later on and you allow them to, you know, I never felt angry with my sisters. I was just hoping that this is something that'll pass, because y'all, in my head, I'm like, I'm not changing. This is not going anywhere. So we gonna have to all ride this out together, because this is not going anywhere. So that was a rough time. Again, it wasn't a direction I was expecting at all.
Right.
Totally. That probably was the most blindsided I've ever been.
Well, okay, so wow. First of all, just wow. Family, let me make you aware, for any of our family members who are just joining us, you're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. I want to make you aware too that if you have a comment or a question, or if you just want to say hello to us and you want to get a message to Larry or to me or Donovan, or you just want us to know that you're out there, you can do so by emailing us. And you can email us at loveandlife@wordradio.com. That's love and life at WURDradio.com. We love to hear from you. We love all of the messages that you send us, and I know you know that because we tell you so. But I just wanted to say that really quickly. But I am so curious to know how your sisters, like, what did they do while processing, while they were asking you these questions about your life and about, so you say they're asking you, okay, so can you turn this off? Like, how does are you sure this is what you want? You sure you don't want to date a girl? Like, how
a young little girl to date, to talk to. And the good thing is, with me and my sisters being out the home at that time, I did not have to see them on a daily basis.
Okay. So that helped.
That definitely helped. That we didn't have to be together. I didn't have to continuously feel that energy every single day. Right. I didn't have to feel like I had to be upstairs in my room because, I want to get away from everybody in the home. So,
well, let me ask you this, because now, well, okay, so your sisters are not living there, but your mother and father are.
Yeah.
So how did that work?
With my father, that energy never changed.
Okay.
With my father, that energy always stayed consistent. With my father, I felt like he never looked at me like, what are you doing? Or why are you doing this? I never felt that energy. I did not necessarily feel the energy from my mom as far as a disgusted energy. I just felt that she did not have clear understanding.
Okay. Do you think she was disappointed? Do you think that's what you?
I do think she was disappointed.
You say you do?
I do. From what I have been told, from what she has told me, her younger brother was gay. And so I'm not sure where that took her to.
Right.
We try not to make excuses for people and what they've gone through, but it's also good to know what they've gone through. To understand it. So me knowing that told me that I had to be a little more patient with her, because she is dealing with something that maybe could have triggered her, could have taken her back. I don't know what she's seen as a kid. I'll
tell you one thing, Larry, since in all my years of knowing you, I've commended you because you have always been your unapologetic self. And I've always admired that about you. I have always, always, always admired you for being you. You claim it, you own it, you walk in your path. And I think that's a beautiful thing for any human being who does so. it's really, I'm finding it like, and especially to know that this is who you are and this is who you have been. This is who you always were. Like you didn't grow into this, you know, you just grew more into it, and you know, along with your while you were maturing.
Yeah.
But I have so many questions right now. My brain is reeling. Okay, but family, what we're going to do is we're going to take another break. Okay, just a short one. And when we come back, we're going to hear some more about Larry's life and his journey. And oh my goodness, how your family was now processing this information. And I want to hear more about your uncles too. And your life as it applies to them. So family, stay with us because we will be right back.
What's up, y'all? It's Janae Latrice
and Kayla J. Be sure to tune in Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. for
Crosswords, sharing conversations across generations right here on WURD.
Progressive Black Talk Media.
We'll see you there.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes. But if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
We're often influenced by what we see or hear on social media. Beware of disinformation campaigns targeting Black communities by using cultural issues to incite divisions, spread false information, and negatively influence public opinions. We're in this together, and together we can stay informed and empowered. Learn more at nbcit.org. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything is an everything. Even when you think things will never ever be the same. Don't be scared of the world, I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different way, towards a different path. All you gotta do is sit and ask. When you need me, I'll be by your side.
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
Hey, still shopping for the new year? Or did you receive a gift card for the holidays? Either way, WURD Radio's got you covered. Visit WURDRadio.com and shop at the WURD Virtual Marketplace. You can support local, small, Black-owned businesses through the marketplace and shop today. Visit WURDRadio.com/marketplace or WURDWorks.com/marketplace. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. And we're joined tonight by our guest, Larry Valentine, who's been sharing tidbits thus far of his journey. We're talking about living a single life, and we're talking about Larry living a single life as an African-American gay male. And Larry shared with us before the break that after sharing with his mother and then subsequently with his sisters, that he awoke to what felt like an intervention. So I'm processing myself as you tell me this information, like what you must have been feeling like, you know, first of all, in that moment when you awoke and you saw all of your sisters in your bedroom, staring down on you, basically waiting for your eyes to open. Like, what did that feel like?
It probably was the first time I can honestly say I felt slightly ganged up on with my sisters. Because I've always just been their baby. You know?
You had never talked with any of your sisters. Okay, family, he has 4 sisters for those who are unaware. You had never talked with any of your sisters about your sexual preference?
No.
Prior to that, I'm saying, I'm sorry. No. Wow.
No.
And just for point of information, so our family members are aware, what is the age difference, or how many years are there between you and the next sister?
Okay, so I'm including a sister that I did grow up with. We're not biological brother and sister. We are just a year apart. And so with her, it always felt like a closer connection because we kind of grew up together.
Okay, sure.
I did express to her at a young age that I think I felt a little different with other boys. We may have talked about it around 13. And because we have grown up together since birth, I feel like she knew what I was talking about because she never needed, she didn't need me to elaborate on that. It was just kind of like a nod. Okay. And that was all she said. And we never spoke of it again. My next sister, we are 11 years apart.
And she's biological. This is your biological sister? The one that's,
yes.
Okay.
We're 11 years apart. And she was definitely always the sister that was, she was like the first one in our family to go to college, extremely intelligent, go-getter, know what she wants, does things by the book. And I think that was the sister to me that was always a little harder or I strived to impress, to live up to. I kind of felt like she was definitely like second mother to me. So I think that during the course of my life, I think I definitely strive to please that sister more than my own mother.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
You know, because she was definitely held to such a high regard. So because before, you know, we everybody held her to a high regard in our family, because she was definitely doing things and breaking barriers that no one else in our immediate family had broken. And so I think that she was the hardest for me to process her disappointment. That was hard. My other two sisters, the next one, we are maybe 15 years apart, maybe 16. She is the religious sister, you know, the sweet sister. Religious. If anything, I would have thought that I would felt the most scolding from her. Sister that on Sundays, if nobody else is going to church, she was going to church. Always very active in the church. So sweet, so loving. And I think that her sweet, loving side overpowered her extremely religious side.
Okay.
And I think if it wasn't for her being so sweet and loving just to everybody, you know, she could not harm anything in this world.
I think it was her religious side that kicked in. I think that's what, you know what I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it was
that was like the backbone, you know, that was the backbone. Because you know, with religious and people that are extremely heavy in the church, it could go either way. It could go.
That is true.
I'm going to love you unconditionally because that's what God told me I'm supposed to do, and that's it. It could go the way of, this is not how life's supposed to be, and I will not accept it, and I don't accept you, and boom.
Right.
It could go either way. And so I was blessed that she had the heart that she has, that she was backed up with that heavy religion in her heart, and she knew what to do with it. She didn't do the wrong, because some people internalize religion, they abide by it, and they use it the wrong way.
You know what? And I probably, my statement in that regard is probably because I know her, and she's a doll baby. That was exactly why I said that, because you do see the God in her. You see God in her. You feel it and you see it. That was from where that came with me, because you really do. And maybe if I did not know her, I possibly would have said something differently, but because I do, I can really understand. I understand that. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, she is a sister that I could honestly do no wrong. I could do no wrong in her eyes, and she's so ride or die for who she loves that even if I know this is so wrong, whether you just, I don't know, you shot somebody, even if I know this is so wrong, my love for you comes first. That wrong, all right, we'll deal with that later. So that's how she's always been with me. So she was very neutral. She's in this neutral, loving, but still neutral place. Like, you know, I know this, I'm taught that this isn't right, but this baby brother, no other way. Positive way. My next sister, she's a year and a half older, and so we're about almost 17 years apart. And she, I mean, they were all like second mom, but she was definitely like mom role.
Okay.
My sister has that label of being like the firm sister. She's the lion because she's the oldest, so she's always going to protect her cubs.
Okay.
But she's also the most worldly and cool, and you know, all the things, you know, you're probably told not to do as a young adult. She's done it. And so I think she was in a very neutral place too. Like, this isn't what I want for my brother. I wish he could date a woman. She definitely was the one who actually said, "Are you sure you don't want to date a woman?"
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Yeah, she was the only sister who made that actual statement.
Okay.
But she said, it was almost like, let me pitch this to you. If it doesn't sound good, okay, cool, whatever.
You know, I love the love that, if I might interrupt for just one moment, I love, you know, so many people have such a different story. So many people have had such a different experience than you that it feels good to hear the experience that you're having. I want to talk more about this because I have another question about what you're sharing right now. But family members, we're going to take a break because we're at the top of our hour. We're just going to take a short break and we'll be right back. So stay with us.
Stand with WURD Radio, Pennsylvania's only Black-owned talk radio station. Join the movement to keep the conversations going and amplify the voice of the Black community. Show your support. Start or renew your 4WURD membership today at WURDradio.com or call 215-425-7875.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player for the Indianapolis Colts. Becoming a running back was no easy task for me, but it's nothing compared to what my amazing mom faces every day. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14 years old, yet she's always there for me, every step of the way, despite her own battles. And the Muscular Dystrophy Association is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Their research is helping find cures and save lives. Watching my mom go through her daily struggles and the care she receives from MDA has made me determined to help find a cure for neuromuscular disease. That is why I support MDA, and that's why I'm so grateful to others who do too. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media. Lifting every voice
till earth and heaven ring.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
Welcome back, family. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. And we're at the top of the second hour of our show. We've been talking with Larry Valentine, who's been sharing with us about his journey as a gay Black male. And although I do have questions about what you shared just before the break, I want to go back to something you said in the first hour when you were talking about actually, two things you said. You were talking about, navigating your sexual preference while you were in school. You said kids aren't always as nice. I want to know of some of the experiences that you had while in school. And I also want to know, because I'm curious in this moment, about the relationship you said you attempted to have with the young lady. How did that end? Did you tell her? So it's a two-part question. What happened is, some experiences that happened in school, and how did that relationship end or dissolve?
Well, as far as experiences in school, I think that the only reason people always say, how would you feel? And I know this is probably going to spark up another question later on with you. People always ask me, how would you feel if you found out your child was a homosexual or gay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I always say that I will be there for my child, but I would still have some form of worry, maybe like sadness. It doesn't mean I'm not accepting my child. It's just that I think that it takes me back to me as a child. Although children now can be a little different. That's a whole other subject. They're like coming out at a younger age. We are in a whole different...
There's a different level of acceptance now.
It really is now. But you're still going to have that old-fashioned way of thinking, even with children. Some children have been exposed nowadays at an early age to understanding. Some of us still have not. And so for me, as a young child, I identify with young girls. Not necessarily that I wanted to be a woman. It was because I grew up with women. I had a mother. I had sisters in the house. I grew up with a lot of feminine energy. My dad worked a lot, so I don't have a lot of memories of my father at home just lounging around.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because you said he was accepting, so I was going to ask that, because you had so much of a female dynamic, like what part did he play? Okay.
Yeah.
So he worked a lot.
Yeah, he worked a lot. So it was things that probably you would think that maybe dad would go take me to do. Mom and sisters were definitely always more active in my day-to-day life. And so I just identified with the sensitivity of being around a woman. So when it came to things like recess in class, I wanted to play with the girls. I wanted to jump rope. I did not want to go on the basketball field, the court, or the baseball field and play with the little boys. And so that started a little bit of the ridicule from the younger boys. I didn't want to play with them. I like playing with a girl. What kind of boy plays with a girl? What boy wants to jump rope? Or maybe a certain way that I acted. Now looking back, I don't know how I acted, but clearly I had some form of maybe a sensitivity or femininity to me. So another young boy, he realized that other young boys don't act like that. Why do you act like that? Why do you do that? Why does your hand go that way? Why did you sit that way? Little boys start asking questions. And at some point they formulate names for it. That's a learned behavior that they're hearing. Children don't just make up derogatory words. They're hearing it from another place. Whether you've seen an adult call another gay person a derogatory word, it's still something that's been learned by children. And then they take it to school and they use what they've heard from adults or other children that have been influenced by adults. They use that on other children to hurt them. So, definitely on a day-to-day basis, being called names.
How did you handle that, though?
That was a lot, you know what I mean? And so that was a lot to process. And I think that has definitely carried over as an adult.
Okay.
The way
Let me ask you this. I'm sorry, I keep
Mhm.
interjecting, and I'm terribly sorry for that. But I would like to know. So you were dealing with this. This was before you came out. You dealt with
Oh,
the
yeah.
majority of the. Okay,
I'm
yeah. So
like,
I'm curious to know what. Say that again. I'm sorry.
I said, yeah, I'm speaking of like first or second grade, you know, even as far back
Wow.
then, you know, dealing with, you know, being called names and young boys saying little things, using the word, the bad F word that, you know, a lot
Mhm.
of gay people don't approve of.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I heard that at a very young age, to the point where I kind of had to go and figure out what it meant. I knew it had something to
Mhm.
do with how I was different, but I had to go figure out what it meant. And then when I figured out what it meant, it was just like, oh wow, you know, it's just it's a similar significance of a woman not wanting to be called a B word, and
Yeah.
use that word towards a gay man in particular. It's an attack, and so
Absolutely.
it's an attack, and so I definitely grew up with that. Definitely from elementary school to high school, you know.
Well, so what was your outlet? How did you handle that? How did you handle that?
I don't
Did you have
think that I
someone?
had a clear understanding of how I did or how I got
Mhm.
through that, because there was no outlet. You know, imagine going
Mhm.
through something and you can't talk to anybody about it, you know, as a
Mhm.
child. And so that is a bit hard to deal with. And honestly, to this day, I can't even say what that has affected in my life. I don't even think I've connected anything. It could not be anything, but it
Sure.
could be some things that may show how I deal with people or how I trust. Um,
Sure.
but yeah, that was very difficult, you know, when you're dealing with bullying. And if I was bullied as a straight male, I think it would be easier
Mhm.
to go home and tell mommy and daddy why I'm being
Sure.
bullied. But as a young boy who identifies as not liking girls, you tell them you've been bullied, you have to tell them the names you've been called. And then it might go into a conversation. Why do you think they're calling you those names? And I
Right.
just wasn't ready for that as a young boy to have that talk. And then it was so crazy how, I mean, I guess I could see myself as being somewhat smart at that age to know that if I bring this to my parents, it's going to be a ripple effect of other questions and other things that I just wasn't ready for at that
Sure.
moment. So
Sure.
I just kind of kept it to myself. I internalized it to myself. And then, you know, I had the protection of the young girls that I went to class
Mhm.
with, I was in class with. They protected me like they were my sisters. And I think that
Mhm.
that is what led up to me assuming that my mother and sister would be okay with this, because I grew up with little girls my age who pretty much knew what was going on with me. They never questioned
Right.
it. They just protected me. If a little boy was saying something to me, they would step in front of me and like, don't you talk to him like that. Don't you do that to him. And so I have some people that I'm
You
friends with to this day who protected me, and I think
you
that
had
kind
a
of kept me going. That
you had a
that
support
definitely kept me
system.
going. Yeah, it
That
was
was
like
your support
it
system.
was like an unspoken support, because they supported me, but we ain't talk about why y'all supporting me. We just ain't even say it, you
Right.
know. So that definitely kept me going. So yeah, that definitely had a lot to do with the female energy that I thought that I was going to
Right.
receive from my mom and my sisters. I was like, oh, I've been having women protect me all my life. I know that these
Right.
women are going to be cool, you know. So I don't even think I've
Wow.
connected that spoke with you, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So the other thing that I want to address is that you said you had an uncle on both sides of your family. One
Mhm.
of your father's brothers and one of your mother's brothers
Mhm.
were also gay males. Did you
Mhm.
have did you have a how well did you know them, or were you able to get to know them? And if so, did you have support from them?
Um, my mother's brother, he was deceased, if I'm not mistaken, before I was born, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
It was either
Okay.
before I was born, maybe as an infant. I'm gonna say before I was born. So I never met him, to my knowledge. I never had a relationship with him. I've seen a couple pictures of him that she may have.
Okay.
And she would talk about him a little here and there. I don't think she ever told me that her brother was gay until much later in life, after me coming out. She never said it.
Oh, wow.
And then, and I was kind of mad that it took her that long to say it to me and for me to connect dots. I'm like, had you allowed me to connect these dots so much earlier in life, I think our relationship would have been, because, I would have had a better understanding of you and I would have made it easier for you to understand me. But because she did not explain that to me and tell me this secret, I don't know if it was. And I think it was things that she saw with her brother, whether maybe it was who he may have been bringing around home, whether it was another little boy, a young man, because he was her older brother. I don't know what she saw, so she gave me him in pieces.
Okay.
From seeing pictures, I think I would have loved to have known him and to have had this, admiration for my uncle. My father's brother, I had a relationship with all my life because he was his younger brother, and my father always did a really great job of making sure that I was around his family. So his family lived down south. My parents did that, all-American thing where you, send your kids down south for the summer.
Right.
So they kind of understand where they came from and their family comes from. And, because I was kind of somewhat raised in the suburb cities, I feel like sometimes my parents kind of had to kind of bring me back down to earth. My dad, like, you need to know where I came from, how I was brought up. And it wasn't from, no great beginnings. And so he would send me down south. And so I was able to kind of form a relationship with my uncle. And then my uncle would visit. That was his baby brother. So they were actually very close. They had a closer relationship than the rest of my father. Maybe had maybe 7 or 8 brothers. And they were the closest. So my uncle has been there my whole life. I think I might have had the conversation with him shortly after the whole situation with my dad and my mom. And I was able to talk to him, and he was kind of I was able to identify. I could identify with him. And so he has always been almost like a second dad my whole life. So again, I think that is one of the things that saved me and my father. I think I don't know how life would have been had he not had that experience with his brother and loved his brother the way he does. He loves his brother. He loved his brother, and my brother loved my father, even to this day, whenever it's a holiday, a Veterans Day, a birthday, my uncle visits my dad's gravesite because that's where my dad is buried. And he sends me pictures and just say, I visited your dad today. And I think that it's so great that I saw that love that these two men had for each other. And my dad loved me the way he loved his brother. And so I think that was amazing. So my mom and my dad had 2 different dynamics with their sibling brothers. And honestly, it showed. It all made sense. It definitely made sense. I think my experience with her brother was a little different.
Their experiences were totally different. And wow. But I will say this, that for you, I am grateful that you were able to experience, because they both love you. They both loved you, and they both love you, So yeah. So I'm happy to know. Say that again.
I said, Mom came around,
and I'm happy. I'm curious to know. Yeah. Well, first of all, I know how much she loves you. But I'm curious to know what the catalyst was for that change, given her experience with homosexuality and how she was having difficulty processing, that her son was a gay black man, a black gay male. What do you, or do you know what the catalyst was? And if so, would you share?
Well, I think that my mom was a little more educated.
Okay.
I don't want to say educated. I think she experienced more of the homosexual lifestyle than I think she has. Because if I'm not mistaken, if I feel like this, she told me that a sister of hers, possibly one of her sisters, was a lesbian.
Well, how many siblings do both your mother and father have? I neglected to ask
my
that.
dad probably had, I think, maybe 10 siblings. So all brothers and one sister. My mom, off the top of my head, I'm going to say possibly 5 or 6.
Okay.
And so she had maybe 2 brothers, 3 sisters, I think, possibly. I never met them all. She was the youngest sibling in her family. So they were all older. By the time I was born, you know, it was maybe only 2 living that she wasn't really even extremely close to, one of them. And so I didn't really have a relationship with her side of the family, as far as the siblings, nor my grandparents. Yeah, I think that at some point my mom realized that, okay, I have seen this before. I know it's not going anywhere. So I'm going to have to figure out how to deal with this. This is my child. You know, I don't know what conversation maybe she had with somebody. I don't know if she talked to a spiritual advisor, a girlfriend, my father, her daughters. I don't know. We have never spoken of when did you come around, or what made you come around? What made you okay? Because I mean, the person she is today with me in my life is, when I say completely different, in a great way. And so, you know, but I do think that at some point, and it definitely was around possibly college, end of college, maybe early hair career, especially us being apart, because I was living in Philadelphia. I don't know, at some point it changed. I don't know if it was that I was just getting older, and she kind of said, okay, this thing is kind of still around, like it's some type of virus or something, or I don't know what light bulb went off for her. But at some point, my mother started to accept, you know, she kind of started to critique, you know, the guys that I was dating and bring them home. And so this definitely happened from the time of 15, I would say maybe in about a 6-year turnaround before I started to notice she would actually speak of it and have something to say about it, or, you know, ask me about my friend. Well, who's your friend? Somebody over the house. What's their name? It took some time, you know, and she definitely came around.
Well, I know that for a fact that she definitely came around, because I know she loves you. Oh my goodness. I love how she loves you. Family, if you have just tuned in, you are joining us on Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We are at 96.1 FM and 900 AM, and we are talking with Larry Valentine, who is sharing with us about living life as a gay male. And I hate, you know, I have to be honest, because I hate saying it like it's a stigma, like it's
right.
You know, because, and especially and particularly because I know you, you know, I've never referred to you as Larry Valentine. I know it, so it just feels awkward to me to say that, but for purposes of information, I'm making it clear to our men.
Any reason dealing with a single black man who likes other men? I don't know, you know, whatever way to make you comfortable.
Which it doesn't, and none of it makes me comfortable, because it just feels so weird. It's like, Larry, no, that's Larry. That makes me comfortable. That makes me comfortable. Yeah, it's my Larry, you know. So but in any event, just so that our family members are informed and well aware, I want to make sure that I am providing the proper points of information. So before we go to the break, though, I want to go back to the statement you made about your sisters, because you said you had this support system when you were in school from your female friends and classmates who were in school. And because of their support, you anticipated that same kind of support from your mother and your sisters. When we come back from the break, I would love for you to just talk with us about how that made you feel. I mean, how that made you feel when the reception you received from them was not what you anticipated and was was different, shall we say. So family members, stay with us, please, because we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka The Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food, marinated in the Black experience, seared with history and braised in culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food, History, and Culture every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
What do an aerospace engineer, cancer immunologist, and bat scientist all have in common? We all have cool jobs in STEM fields. Whether it's building robots or learning to code, girls everywhere are finding their passion for science, technology, engineering, and math through positive role models and mentors. So dare to dive in, get connected, and explore. You never know what your future may hold. Learn more about these and even more cool jobs at shecanstem.com.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything is an everything. Even when you think things can never ever be the same. Don't be scared of the world, I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different way, towards a different path. All you gotta do is sit and ask. When you need me, I'll be by your side.
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
Black Americans have died of COVID-19 at over 2 times the rate of white counterparts. This is due to systemic racism and healthcare disparities. Here are some tips for protecting yourself. Wear a mask covering your mouth and nose. Avoid crowds. Wash your hands with soap and water. Use alcohol-based sanitizers. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Practice social distancing and follow World Health Organization guidelines. Quarantine if you've been exposed to the virus. Self-isolate if you're experiencing symptoms. Seek medical attention if you experience difficulty breathing, a fever, cough, sudden confusion, or pressure in your chest. If you don't have health insurance or a healthcare provider, try contacting your state health department, community health clinics, or local hospitals for testing and treatment. Together, we can stay informed and empowered. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
When I cross the finish line, it's not just me. I succeed because of others. When I was pregnant, I survived because of others. At 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Because my doctor took quick action and my husband was there to help me, I'm alive. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. And we've been talking with Larry Valentine, who's been filling us in on his life as a gay Black male. I keep saying gay Black male because, but I should have had another guest to counter, because you can't speak to anything but being a gay male. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense to you. But it's very interesting all the same. So
I mean, we have definitely a similar connection, whether it's gay Black male or white male or gay Black woman. Everybody definitely has a different story, but we all definitely have some form of some different, a similar connection. So who knows? Maybe in the future you'll have any.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what challenges you face that are different than, you know, the challenges of others from different backgrounds or ethnic backgrounds. That was to what I was speaking about. But you know what? That means you'll have to come back, because we'll have another guest, and we'll that'll be something else to talk about. I want to fast forward to today. You talked about coming from the DMV. You talking about having moved to Philadelphia because you were in college, you've gone to school, and now you are no longer in Philadelphia. Yeah, talk to me about two things, please, if you will, about how you got to Houston, number one, and how managing relationships in present day is different from growing up.
Okay, so starting off first, I think after years and years and years and years of serial dating, because a lot of my friends kind of like to make fun of the fact that I'm a serial dater. I'm definitely not the type of person that's like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Screw love. I'm not doing this. No, I literally am. If a relationship ends, I am on to the next. I am open to dating. I'm open to the hookup. I'm open to online dating. I always tell people, like, don't be afraid to exhaust all your options and resources. And I'm a lover. I'm a hopeless romantic, hopeful. And, you know, I've always just been kind of like, you know, get up and keep going. And so I ended up at some point getting into long distance dating and being open to that and saying that, oh, well, you know, I honestly don't really see myself in Philadelphia for a long time. So it's okay to be open to dating someone that lives in another state. And so I did. Someone that I met online. And coincidentally, we are from the same hometown, and so we know some of the same people. So you know, before we started, you know, really getting into seriously dating, I was able to kind of get a few references. Like, okay, that was cool. And for the next 2 years, I was on this high of being in Houston, Texas, where I'm at now. I was on this high of being in Houston, like literally every month for 2 years. And it definitely got to a point where the traveling was a lot. I was kind of like emotionally, mentally a little ready to kind of like move on for Philadelphia. And I was open to moving. And so I did. I made a huge decision to leave my home, my salon, and my family, of being close, you know, because I traveled a lot between Philadelphia and DC, to see my family, and my friends and the people I love the most, and my Carol, and you know, the arts of being in Philadelphia, because it's one of the beautiful things about Philadelphia. You are surrounded around so many artistic people, and just the spirit of the art in Philadelphia is just amazing. I still haven't seen anything like it even since I moved to Houston, but love took over, love won, and I was like, I'm out. And so I'm and honestly, it ended up ending as a bad situation somewhat. But it has definitely turned now into a blessing of being here. I'm definitely glad I stayed. Clearly the relationship did not work out after a year of being in Houston. But things happen.
And they do. And they do.
Yeah, things happen. So
they do.
People ask me, would you ever do it again? Yeah, I would.
What has been the most challenging experience, or what has been the most challenging thing for you as a gay male?
As a gay male, being the most challenging thing would be, I would really say, just acceptance.
Is it more challenging with heterosexual male, black males, or just overall?
It's definitely challenging with heterosexual black males. Definitely. I have seen more acceptance in my life from straight black women in my life. I have seen more acceptance from straight white women in my life. I have seen more acceptance from straight white men in my life. The letdown for me has been straight black men in my life. I have it's a hard time with that in my life, but I've also had a beautiful time with that in my life, because I do have a lot of straight male friends that are extremely accepting of me, and that kind of kept me on the straight and narrow that, okay, they're not all like this. They're not all like this. But that has been one of the great disappointments in my life, that when I felt like I was around certain straight black men, I could not allow myself to be myself. My shoulders had to come up a little bit. My voice had to deepen a little bit. And you never feel like you have to turn into another person. And you know, that's just my story. Some people, some gay black males are not like that around straight men. They are, they are who they are, and it is what it is, and this is me, and you deal with it. But for me,
right.
There was a lot of discomfort growing up being around straight black men. And I felt like I was not able to let my shoulders down and kind of be who I was, and kind of let my voice kind of go where it was, or my hand kind of go where it was. And if I knew that I was going somewhere in the presence of a lot of straight black men, I was always very conscious of what I wore. Are my pants too tight? You know? So I think that has been a lifelong thing with me and a lot of gay men.
Well, even nowadays, given that homosexuality is far more accepted, is it still as challenging?
It's not as challenging. I think that I've definitely been more sure of myself in the last few years. I don't think as hard about who I am, because I've come to realize that you should not have to walk out the door and wonder who's going to be uncomfortable with your presence. There's just no way to live. And so I definitely think things have definitely changed in the world for the LGBT, and if I forget a few letters, please forgive me. No, community. You know what I mean. And so I think a lot of things have changed. We still have a lot of ways to go, but a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have begun to normalize. You know, I feel like if I get married, I can have straight men at my wedding who would be very supportive of me. So things have definitely changed a lot. It's not perfect, but it's definitely changed.
You know, one question I think that I asked, and I don't remember receiving the answer to, was when I asked you about the relationship that you did make an attempt to have with the young lady. How did that end?
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah. What did you tell her? Like what?
You know what? I think at that time we were in junior high school, and it was time to go to high school. And I think that we both started going to high school, and it was just like we wasn't seeing each other as much, because I was very close to her family. Her family wanted me to come over and play or hang out or whatever. And then high school started, and I wasn't in a private school anymore. My parents allowed me to go to public school for the first time in my life. And I'm seeing all these kids around who are just so expressive of themselves and who they are. So we just kind of like drifted off. You know, we stayed in contact, but we wasn't hanging out anymore. The calls kind of stopped as much and as frequent. And I started to become myself. And one day I think it might have been around that same year, I hit her up and just told her what I've been through with my parents and my family, and we were not together anymore at that time. I think that was kind of a known. And I was just like, this is who I am. And she was so cool about it. She kind of chuckled and was like, you know, my family always said that they kind of felt like you might have been, and I just hear she's like, I always defended you, and you know they didn't say it in a way of like talking nasty about me. It was just about, better watch out for that Larry now. I don't know, you know. And so she was like, wow, like they were right. And honestly, her and I have been the greatest friends since. You know, we've been the greatest friends. Like her family is like my family to this day. And she was very understanding that we were kids. And I was in a position where I felt like I had to identify with other young boys. And so I definitely wasn't using you. And honestly, probably wasn't even really about you. It was just me making sure, is this right for me? Is this what I should be doing? And sometimes in order to figure that out, you kind of got to jump in and do it to realize that it may not be right for you. And I think that's just what I did at that time.
Understandable. So what would you say, or what would your advice be to young gay Black males today? Now, given that the world is a lot different and it's still changing, you know, but given that it's different than it was when you were coming up, what would you say to young gay Black males now about managing, you know, a dating lifestyle, managing singlehood, maintaining health, and what would you say to them?
Well, I would definitely say, especially if you're in a position, if you're in a healthy environment, number one, because I wouldn't want to give anybody any advice to where they're in an unhealthy environment and it puts them in a position to where they could be in any harm, even from family members. If you feel like you are in a place to where you are confident about who you are, you know what you want, and there's no question about it, I do think that if it ever comes to you in a form of a question, I think you should definitely be honest about who you are, stand your ground, and realize that who you are is something that other people have to process. You don't continuously have to keep going back to yourself and question yourself and trying to process who you are. You know who you are. And remember that first instinct about yourself that you have. You know who you are. And remember that it's other people that have to process. And sometimes a lot of people can be very infectious and poison and toxic, and they will make you think that you have to process and rethink who you are. And it really is them. They're projecting their difficult time of dealing onto you. And it's really them. And so just stand your ground of who you are. And if it's someone young that I had to give the advice to, again, stand your ground in a respectful way. You know, your parents are always your parents. But I think that, you know, if you come to your parents or come to your family in a respectful way and let them know that this is me, this is not changing. And, you know, I hope that we can find a place to where you can one day accept this, but just stand your ground.
I love that.
You know, it's just as far as dating, you know, I think that I would love to get to a place where gay people dating can be looked at as anybody else dating. You know what I mean? We are normal. We are normal. And but I do think that as a gay Black male, I think that it is good to find yourself, know yourself. And if you've had any difficult situations in your childhood of dealing, definitely get therapy.
That's a.
Don't
You know
wait
what? Thank you.
mess up your life, somebody else's life, to finally say
That's what I was about to say.
50 years old.
Yes, I was about to say that.
Do it now.
Yes, once you identify that.
Yeah, once
Larry,
you
thank
know who you are, depending on what your story is, I think everyone should be very open to therapy, to receiving therapy.
I want to stop you right there because we're going to take a short commercial break. Family, stay with us because we'll be right back.
Word on jobs.
A new year is here, and if you're searching for new career goals or a new job that fits your skill set, visit WordWorks.com to view jobs and program opportunities, including Community Relations Coordinator for WHYY, Disability Services Director for NBME, and Policy Director for Bicycle Coalition of Greater Philadelphia. Visit WordWorks at WURD.com and find the career opportunity that's right for you. Brought to you by Pico and Livelihood at WURD Radio.
What do an aerospace engineer, cancer immunologist, and bat scientist all have in common? We all have cool jobs in STEM fields. Whether it's building robots or learning to code, girls everywhere are finding their passion for science, technology, engineering, and math through positive role models and mentors. So dare to dive in, get connected, and explore. You never know what your future may hold. Learn more about these and even more cool jobs at SheCanSTEM.com.
We're often influenced by what we see or hear on social media. Beware of disinformation campaigns targeting Black communities by using cultural issues to incite divisions, spread false information, and negatively influence public opinions. We're in this together, and together we can stay informed and empowered. Learn more at nbcit.org. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything is in everything. Even when you think things will never ever be the same. Don't be scared of the world, I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different way, towards a different path. All you gotta do is sit and ask. When you need me, I'll be by your side.
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
Hey family, I'm Carol Riddick.
And I'm Donavan West, and we're the hosts of Love and Life, a new show about,
well, love and life.
This show is an informative, entertaining, and refreshing take on the hard conversations about love and life.
Each day, we'll provide real facts and honest opinions on dating, sexual health, casual, and committed relationships.
These late-night conversations will be served on a judgment-free platter and seasoned with unapologetic realness.
So join us Sunday night through Thursday night at midnight on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Independent Black Media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We're at 96.1 FM and 900 AM. I want to remind you, as we're coming to the close of tonight's program, that you can feel free to email us, and you can do so by emailing us at loveandlife@wurdradio.com. That's loveandlife@wordradio.com. We would love to hear from you. We've been talking with Larry about his life. He's shared, oh my goodness, so much. And I must say, Larry, you know, I know you and have known you for so long, you know, and I know that the person that you are today is the person that I met when you were, you know, a baby, when we were baby babies. But, and I think that's a beautiful thing. It's a huge testament to your family and to the love that you received from all of your family members, from your mother, your father, your siblings, you know, everybody that was a part of the fabric and the village that raised you. And I think it's a beautiful thing because it just contributed in such a great way to the man, the person, the human being, the spirit that you are, that I know and love so much. But I want to go back to something that you were saying just before the break. I asked what you would say, what knowledge you would impart, or what suggestion you would make or to any young Black gay male. And one thing you said was that if at any point in you know, their journey that they identify that, you know, they need some help coping or dealing with the world, with life, with what's coming at them, because it can be difficult, that they should seek therapy. How important do you feel therapy is?
Therapy is really, really, really important because sometimes we carry so much emotional, painful baggage on our shoulders. And then when you enter into a union with someone else, you don't realize how much baggage you're carrying with that person, expecting them to catch it and hold it up and possibly run with it. And I think it's just so important to, number one, identify with what you've been through. And I'm hoping that you want to change in a way as far as how you deal with people. Some people, you know, are very angry, hurt. They're still suffering. They may be a grown person in their skin, but internally they're still that young person that was hurt or damaged by family or friends who did not accept them, people who ridiculed them.
Sure.
So I definitely think that before, if you recognize this about yourself, if you feel like something is not right, or if you feel like I just haven't had the best luck with dating, or dating always seems to end the same way for me, or I'm always disappointing somebody or myself within relationships, I think it's good to number one, identify your issue and just be willing to get help if you want to join your life with somebody else's and the energy that you guys will share forever. Be respectful of that person and allow them to fit in and not try to fit around you, but to fit in. And the only way you can do that is by getting therapy. And that's definitely been a problem with, number one, men, number one. And it's definitely been a problem with Black men. And then it is a problem with Black gay men of not wanting to seek help and seek therapy due to past issues or trauma, if you have it, because it's not everybody's story. We are all not trauma damaged,
traumatized,
or hasn't been, you know, touched or molested. That is not everybody's story. You know what I mean? And that's all the issue, that's such a label with us. You know, well, what happened?
Right.
You know, I've had people say, well, what happened to you as a kid? I say, excuse me? Like, you know, nothing happened to me as a kid to make me like this. So it's not everybody's story. Everybody does not need therapy, but if it's definitely something that you feel like has impacted your life and how you view men, how you view love, how you view relationships, it is important. It's very important.
I want to say thank you again to the one thing you did say, and this applies to everybody, is about being who you are, owning who you are, accepting who you are, and loving you. It starts there with loving you and loving on you. Larry, we've had many a conversation about my journey, trying to get to loving me more. And yeah, it really is. But I'm so glad you said that too, because I think sometimes we all need just a little reminder. You need to love on you a little more. That's what you need. That's what you need. So I'm glad that you did say that. I'm glad to hear your story. I'm glad that you shared it. And the other part too was that you saying, somebody having the audacity to ask you, what happened to you? Like what, as if something is wrong with you, as if you are flawed, or as if, there was something that happened or took place in your life it had to have taken place.
Like this. That's not everybody's story. I've heard some stories with a lot of people as far as acceptance, abuse, trauma, being ridiculed. But, I can honestly say, and I used to not want to tell my story because I thought that sometimes it just sounded a little too perfect, too good. And then now as an adult, I'm like, I am
praise God.
Blessed.
Yes, you are. You are tremendously blessed.
Like, I had a father who was active in my life and wanted to accept me and with open arms. I have a mother who is extremely supportive, and I know, if I get married, mama gonna be there.
And your sisters,
who are extremely.
Let me tell you something.
Extremely supportive. Mm-hmm.
I love your support system. I am on the outside looking in, watching how they love on you, how they love you, and how they embrace you, your life, your world, how they embraced me as your friend, and I love you to pieces. I still remember that mohawk that day you had when you came into the salon. Family. I must say that wraps up today's episode of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. I am extending a tremendous thank you to all of you for spending your time with us. Your company and your attention are always welcome. You know that because I tell you all the time. I want to express my gratitude to the entire WURD family, and a tremendous thank you to you, Larry, for being our guest tonight. If you're in Houston, look him up, okay? Because I miss him doing my poor little hair. I miss him. Oh, heavens to Murgatroyd. I still call him. I still call him. Larry, what do you think about?
She called me, he texted me, she sent me pictures about what she should
do. I do. And then he tells me to leave him alone. He tells me to leave him alone. But in any event, family, have a great night. Have a great morning, and have a great rest of your day. Remember, we are all in this together. So be good to you, but be good to those around you. And make sure you join us at midnight again for another edition of Love and Life on WURD. I love you, but God loves you more. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka The Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food marinated in the Black experience, seared with history and braised culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food, History, and Culture every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
A lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, It's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Oh, hey, Julia. You ready to play band with us? I'm going to play my clarinet.
And Elmo's going to play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.